This episode of the Quad Squad Pod is sponsored by The Ballad of Bonaduke by R.T. Slaywood, a dark urban fantasy available exclusively on Kindle Vella. Visit our link tree or the description of this episode of the podcast for more information on how to begin reading today. Now let's start the show. It's episode 10. We've made it to double digits, which means we now have more episodes on the internet than Aaron has little tiny toes he wiggles into his socks every morning before work. So we're all very excited
this many more episodes than toes.
His math is correct. As much as I hate to say that Aaron is correct ever, his math is
And that's a visual, folks, so join our YouTube.
But no, so episode 10, we wanted to commemorate this milestone, not only for us, but to the half a dozen of you that are still sticking around and listening to us. We truly appreciate you being here. But we wanted to do something kind of inspired by the last few episodes, but a little bit different. So we wanted to talk about 10 different things that are either our favorite or something, if we had to pick one of, what would that be? So we brought the randomizer back, which I know everyone has been clamoring for since our last episode.
These special effects, I tell you. It's the silent.
The DCEU, James Gunn just reached out to see if we could do the visual effects on their next movie based on what we've seen lately. So with that being said, we have our 10 categories here. We decided rather than go in any particular order, we want all of us to be as on the spot as possible. Keep us on our toes. So we're just going to go ahead and spin away. We'll see what's
Wait
coming
a minute.
up first.
On our what? Fuck you, Andrew.
Well, you still have toes.
Just not all of them.
You just have less of them. Oh, look, Dream Car came up first. Whoever could have predicted something like that? Oh, whoops. Whoops. There we go. We definitely haven't started already. So we're going to talk about our dream car first, as this is the first time we're definitely doing this. So Aaron, why don't you go ahead and go first, and I have no idea what your answer is going to be. So surprise me.
Okay, so my dream car is 1968, 1969 Dodge Charger RT. Yeah, it was painted with a racist-ass flag and the Dukes of Hazzard, but that's where people of my generation fell in love with that car. Then the 68 was in Pauly's favorite movie. God damn it, Blade. That was his car. Was a 68, gorgeous car. But my dream car would probably be, which I'd love to have the old car with the old motor that you can tinker on. But if I had the money to put that body on a brand new Hellcat Challenger frame with the brand new interior, but still be looking old school outside, that is for sure my dream car.
Nice.
2024.
It's a lot of detail into that one. My answer to this question is going to be so pathetic compared to what he just said.
Yeah, what about the tires too? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Now I feel like the Star Wars guy who doesn't know anything.
Oh, if you want to talk about bucking it out the trunk so you can have 32s in the back, we can sit here and talk about that all day. But
isn't it interesting? The guy who would never talk about the score of a movie or the editing or the visual effects just gave us 39 points of detail about his dream car.
Because nobody gives a fuck about the score on a movie, but you talk about nerd. Cars are cool.
Except for the Academy of motion pictures.
Cars are
But yeah,
guy stuff.
yeah, besides them, I guess the people who hand out a fucking award specifically for best score. But yeah, everybody besides them. Well, that's going to be tough to follow considering you'll get far less detail from me. I'm going to go with Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds, which Aaron told me is a 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500. Mustang GT500.
Very good, Andrew. Solid pick, by the way.
That is, I think I was kind of mesmerized from that. That movie was so cool. I think that movie came out, like 99 or 2000 or somewhere around there, I feel like.
Yeah, it was
a remake.
Early
It was
a remake
2000s.
too.
June 9th of 2000.
Did you just pull that out of your mind, the release date of Gone in 60 Seconds?
That actually came up on my Facebook feed today.
Holy shit. But yeah, I would have been...
What's Facebook?
So where Aaron gets the memes he shares about politics.
I set him up, you take him down.
Fuck
Man,
you, Andrew.
It's like batting practice or the home run derby here. There's one. Okay, so Bryce, you are up next.
Okay, now, so to our listening audience, who is, I think Andrew mentioned earlier, 6 of you. Come on, guys, it's 60. I don't know if any of you know this, but I haven't had a driver's license for 16, 17 years. So I don't do a whole lot of driving or obsessing about cars or anything. But if I had to pick a car, I would pick Optimus Prime. Because that would be rad to have a transformer as a car, I think, And the biggest possible one, who's the leader of the Autobots, would be my man, So, yeah.
Okay, so
let it fly.
I've got a nerd out here. Which Optimus Prime are we picking? The cab over, the original cab over Optimus Prime, the Peterbilt from the first 3 movies, the piece of crap from the Mark Wahlberg movie, and then this latest one they've gone to the back to the cab
Bryce.
over.
We've lost Bryce. He's tuned out. He's done. He just wanted Optimus Prime. That was all.
Just say the Peterbilt. Just say
I'm
the
just giving
Peterbilt.
Shit. The cartoon. How's that?
There you go, cab over. Nice.
Okay. That's also assuming that I would have any idea how to drive an actual truck.
Well, you don't have
That's
to.
why I wanted to be Optimus Prime. So yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah.
No, and actually, if I had to choose a version of Optimus Prime to be my truck, it would be the Transformers Prime version from that cartoon. So I don't have a driver's license and I watch cartoons. So ladies, give me a call.
That's a category we'll get to in just a few minutes. Pauly, let's round it out here for Dream
mine
Car.
doesn't come from a particular movie. I've just always loved this car since I was younger. I think we saw it at a car show. But it's a 1968 Shelby Cobra, not the Mustang, just the Shelby Cobra. It's bubbled ways of being, and just the blue one with the white racing stripes, and it's perfection to me. The sound of that car, the big ass fucking tires, everything about that car is just beautiful in my book.
That is so cool.
Yep.
Ooh.
Great pick.
Excellent. All right, let's go back to...
Yeah, that's Jazz from the Transformers, just so you guys know.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Gotcha. Then I picked Jazz from the Transformers.
Aaron will be back to talk about the exhaust system after this word from our sponsors. Just kidding. Next category.
Just kidding. We don't have any sponsors.
Flying solo today.
Yeah.
Oof.
Favorite movie. Jesus. So I'm...
Now we're talking about something I know how to talk about.
There you go. All right, so let's start. You want to start in reverse order here? Let's do that. Pauly, no pressure.
let's do a snake draft.
You can go ahead and lead us off here. Favorite movie?
Okay. So there's probably 4 that I could choose between right now that I was thinking about earlier.
Blade 3? Where does Blade 3 fall on the list?
The best of the blades.
I hate you so much. No, I'm going to go with one that probably high school, I got into it, and I can watch it at least 2 or 3 times a year. Is SLC Punk. That one is, it's has a cult following, but it's hard to explain why. But obviously, the punk side of it. They go to college, they, get their degrees and everything, and then they just sit on their asses as true anarchy of just sticking it to the man by not using the degrees that they got, in which his dad was an attorney, paid for his college. He could have easily gone to Harvard or anything, and he decided, like, nah, I'm just going to sit at home and party. But it's really the ending that gets me every time when his buddy overdoses, and his name is Heroin Bob, but he doesn't do drugs at all. Like, that's the joke of his name, is like he doesn't do any drugs. And they're at a party, and he had a really bad headache, and somebody at the party gave him drugs for his headache, thinking it was like aspirin or something. It ended up being super hard drugs. So they go home after the party, wake up to Heroin Bob just sitting there dead, like overdosed on these pills that he got. And like every time that scene, like the way that he reacts to him and everything, like he calls him poser, is just busting out, like tears coming down. Like it feels so real. So yeah, that one, like there's so many emotions throughout that entire movie of, comedic and everything, especially when he goes through the hierarchy of, the metalheads and the Nazis, or the skinheads, I should say. The new age people and the punks, and like the hierarchy of who beats up who. Like he goes through this whole scientific thing. Like it's so fucking good. But yeah, like that movie is just another one I can always tune into and watch and just enjoy all the emotions that come flying through me during it.
I had never even heard of that movie until just now.
I've never seen that movie.
I had to look it up.
It's so.
Yeah.
I've seen one scene from it where the dude dies, and it's gut wrenching.
Yeah.
All right, Bryce. Hopefully your answer is a little lighter than that.
Yeah, I'm going with the best movie literally ever made, The Big Lebowski.
I just watched that last night.
Because I'm an editing junkie. Like, I notice every cigarette that changes when camera A, camera B switches. I notice every drink that goes down. I notice everything, and it ruins movies for me immediately. And Big Lebowski has only one editing mistake in the entire film, so it's pure perfection. And the scene where, in the entire scene where he leaves his apartment because he puts the piece of wood on the floor down the wrong way to block his door. From that to when he finally trips over it again and Maud is in his apartment is just, you don't realize that's like a little movie in itself. It's just the most brilliant movie. And Jeff Bridges is
phenomenal.
Jeff Bridges is everybody's favorite actor, so
yeah,
definitely
He's so good. He's so good. Yeah, I just actually watched that. It was my buddy went out for a couple buddies' birthdays. Just crashed at one of their places because it's about an hour away, and that was what he wanted to watch after we got back from the bar. So I don't think I've seen it in at least a few years. And
and the casting in it is phenomenal. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. From Turturro to Goodman to Buscemi,
Goodman.
Turturro, Turturro is one of those actors that you kind of forget about, but everything he is in he nails it. If it's Transformers, Big Lebowski, he's just an amazing actor.
He's good. I don't have a fucking answer for this category, and I don't even know which way that there's like 17 ways I could go. Do I want a movie that like I could just turn on and I know I'm going to be able to watch over and over, or do I want a movie that I know is going to be like emotionally or mentally taxing when I watch it? God, I'm going to go with one that I feel like gets a lot of elements that I enjoy all in one. It's going to be a movie that stars Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman, and I'm just going to say The Replacements.
It's a good fucking comedy.
So I love sports. I'm looking for a movie if I'm going to watch it. the way I thought about this question was like, if I'm on a desert island and I could bring one movie, what would it be? And this would be a great one because you get the comedy, you get the sports, you get just a ton of screen time for Keanu Reeves, Gene Hackman just being like old Gene Hackman, but really when like old Gene Hackman was in his prime in the early 2000s, which was fantastic. And it's got like the serious moments towards the end where they come back and they win the big game. So it's got a lot of elements that I really enjoy all wrapped up in one. If I picked The Departed, I probably would do a terrible Boston accent here, so that was why I didn't pick that one among many other
please
reasons.
don't do that because
But,
your Boston accent is horrendous.
Aaron, I'm not taking requests, so if I was going to do it, I would do it either way. Thank you though. All right, Aaron. So, which of the movies Shirley Temple starred in the 1910s do you want to put here?
Fuck you, Andrew.
I don't know any of them, but I know she won an Academy Award. Those things you hate and say don't matter.
So, I actually did some thinking on this, and when I was a senior in high school in 1999, Andrew. You asshole.
How many years did you spend as your senior year? Because that couldn't have been the first time.
This is for the YouTube crowd.
Aaron holds the record for rushing yards for football players at his high school, but that's because he had 13 years of eligibility as a high school football player.
Yeah, that's it. But my favorite movie back then was Face Off, which it still holds up to this day between the corniness and the action.
Incredible answer.
Shut up. But the movie
I wasn't kidding.
The movie I'm actually going to go with.
It's a better choice than whatever you're about to say. I guarantee.
No, I'm going to say this. The movie This Is Where I Leave You. It's an amazing.
Oh, is that Jason Bateman?
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
Jason Bateman, Tina Fey, Adam Driver, Jane Fonda, Rose Byrne, Connie Britton, Katherine Hahn, Corey Stoll, Timothy Olyphantastic, which you can't go wrong there.
That is not his name.
Dak Shepard, Abigail Spencer, Ben Schwartz. It's just so star-studded, but it's so emotional, and
it is so good.
The end, one of the very ending scenes where Adam Driver and Jason Bateman are saying goodbye to each other. I cry every time. Every goddamn time.
Put their heads together?
Put their heads together. And you can see where Adam Driver is trying not to cry. Tears the entire time. That is an amazing movie.
I never knew. I don't know if this is like, if you would quantify this as the Mandela effect, but I swear to God, I'll be on Netflix and that movie was one I never heard of until like 6 months ago. There's a movie Margin Call with like Jeremy Irons, Kevin Spacey about the housing crash in 2008, and like these movies with these huge actors, and it's like, how did no one hear anything about, like, how did I not hear about this for the first decade it had been released? Like, but This Is Where I Leave You. That's also the scene where they go in. They're at the funeral or the viewing, and they go and they smoke the blunt. One of them has in like the classroom for Sunday school, and then they get the fire the fire alarm system just goes off and the sprinkler starts spraying everywhere, and it was like, not only is that movie really funny, but there are so many parts where it's like the siblings are all living their own lives and there are different parts of their lives, but they like come together, and it really is like emotionally gripping right from the start.
Well, and the other reason is that movie, for whatever reason, in very important times in my life, just happened to show up. I'm not going to get into it, but when it first came out on DVD, I just got it when I had things going on and watched it and loved it. And then just lately it came on Netflix and had something new happening in my life, and it's just like, for whatever reason, that's why I picked it.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. All right, let's get back to the handy dandy randomizer. Let's see what we got next. There's some good ones on there. What do we got? Ooh. All right. This was Aaron's nickname in high school, Desert Island Treat. So this category is going to be if you could bring one dessert item or treat of any kind, bakery item, whatever you prefer. You can't bring Aaron with you and trust us, you don't want to. What would that item be? So I don't know. Since we started with Aaron, I can start here. Oh my God. I just have to go with like your classic New York style cheesecake with fresh cut strawberries over top.
Nice.
Maybe. I'm eating my fruit with my dessert, so I can say that it's healthy, even though I know that it's not. But yeah, that's a classic for me. And then we'll go to Bryce.
So it says Desert Island Treat, and is treat only food?
Oh.
Or
Yes,
dessert?
only.
Yeah, I was
food.
gonna say, does it have to be a dessert? Does it have to be sweet?
'Cause I had lots of other ideas.
No, Aaron. You can have a kale salad with raspberry vinaigrette as your treat if that's what you'd prefer.
But yes,
Well, what if
Bryce,
you want
only
weed?
food.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my things. You know, like
I mean, I guess if you want, that's just going to make you really hungry, and then you won't have a
And
delicious
you don't have
dessert
treats.
to go with. So,
and also,
but
like,
yeah, if that's what you
no
prefer.
clean water or anything like that. So yeah, it'd just be like a long-winded suicide. Let's see here. I think I'd go simple if I could. I'd just go Oreos or Oreo cookie.
Nice.
I think Oreos would be like the best way to go. You know,
With
Nice
no
Golden
milk.
Oreos
Regular
are
or
better.
double stuff?
Golden Oreos are better.
Regular or double stuff?
whose are better? What?
Golden Oreos are better than the traditional Oreos.
I've never had
That's
them. I couldn't tell you.
Well, it's blasphemy, so don't.
Don't even try
It's a
them.
lie.
Yeah.
That's coming from a guy who calls Timothy Olyphantastic. So do with that what you will.
Timothy,
It's gonna be a large grain of
I play
salt.
the
You
same
should
role
take that
every
with.
time I get cast in anything.
You watch your mouth. That is not true. There will be no Timothy Oliphant slander here. We'll slander Aaron instead. All right, Pauly, you're up.
Being that I'm married to a trained pastry chef, this is difficult. But I will go with her homemade version of oatmeal cream pie because those are just fantastic.
Oh, look at
I'll
me!
say
I'm married to a pastry chef. Rice Victorias.
I love when Bryce is in a bad mood and he's the curmudgeon.
Yeah. I'm actually enjoying this. This might be where I live from now on. Being all
I'm
like
excited for the
positive and shit
TikToks.
like that is getting me nowhere in life.
You
All
got
right, so
us.
Aaron wants
Aaron
wants gas station
That's what I got.
sushi and a kale salad. Aaron, did I get it for you?
Fuck
Gas
you,
station
Andrew.
sushi and a kale salad. Is that it? So that you're telling me that's not it?
No, that's not it.
Okay.
And
kale salad.
I'm actually going to try to pick something kind of sweet here.
I'm off the
Peanut
table,
butter.
buddy. Sorry.
Just peanut butter.
I'm going to have to go with my favorite pie, and it's going to have to be coconut cream.
It's good pie.
What a terrible fucking answer.
Really?
Yes.
Like you said that about you, but I picked just fucking grocery store Oreos.
It's the only thing that comes close to actually being made on the island that we're on, anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like he could have more of
It's like,
this once
dude,
he
like,
runs
you
out.
already have coconuts.
Oh, my
really?
God.
You chose coconut cream pie?
Not a lot of foresight there. That's okay. All right. Oh, are we gonna get this one now? I don't even think I'm prepared.
No, it's a hot take.
Oh no.
This might just be Aaron's category. Let's just get out of the way and let Aaron talk for 15 minutes.
Is he
Does
getting
anybody
more
want to go
picks? 'Cause
first
mine's
here?
really
Does
not
anybody have
that
one in mind?
controversial.
No, I'll take it because anybody who knows me knows this is my hot take. Bread is overrated,
Oh,
and I will not be taking questions on it. Everybody who just goes nuts over freaking buttered buns and it, blah.
So I was talking to my other bartender the other night, Allie, and she was like, "Yeah, sometimes when I go to bed hungry, I just wake up in the middle of the night and eat like 4 slices of bread with butter on it." And the first thing I said was, "I know somebody who would hate you."
Yes, for sure.
He would judge you so hard.
That's it, literally that one of the worst takes of all time is that take.
Look, bread is supposed to be a reason that you get something else in your mouth. Meat, vegetables. It's not.
I can't wait till we play that clip. Just that 2 seconds right there.
Fuck you, Andrew.
Oh my God. Wait. This has got to be a better way to do this.
That's 4.
Bread's supposed to be the way you get something in your mouth. Something like meat.
Something delicious in your mouth. Something else in your mouth. Is that why you've been walking around with a Wonder Bread wrapper stapled to the front of your jeans, Aaron?
That was a horrible joke.
Yeah,
No,
I think Bryce would beg to differ.
Well, no,
based on
well, Andrew, don't give yourself too much credit. Like, I often think your terrible jokes are the funniest ones. So, like,
humor is subjective, and Aaron is objectively not funny.
Andrew, it's why you always ask me to bring hot dog buns when I come to your house.
That's
even worse.
You just did a worse version of what I did to you. But the only problem was you told me I wasn't funny, and you were like 3 tiers below what I did there. So I think we should just move on before you try another one of those jokes.
It's like, I'll take that.
And every time I respond to him like that, he's like, "Don't try to turn it around on me." Anyways, my hot take is Aaron is funny. That's not it. That's
Fuck you, Andrew.
Okay, that's 5. We're doing pretty good today. That is not my hot take. My hot take is, I've had this one for a long time. I don't know if I've shared this with you all, but Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers are terrible.
Wow.
Oh, fuck you, Andrew.
That hurts.
You want to talk about music I hear that I'm like, if I never heard this song again, I could move on with my life and not be impacted whatsoever.
Do you also hate AC/DC? Do you hate Jimi Hendrix?
Okay. Now wait a second.
Tom Petty.
I don't even think those are remote.
Hold on.
Holy fucking hell!
Hold on.
You did not just say that in a room with a fucking guitar player, did you? Did you really just compare Tom Petty and the fucking Heartbreakers to Jimi Hendrix? Holy shit!
Is that Aaron's hot take that
it just became his
Tom
new hot
Petty
take.
is better than Jimi Hendrix?
Jeez, some crepes. What in the? Oh God!
All right, Bryce. Now that you're a little lively, why don't you share yours with us?
Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm shaking. My hands are literally shaking. Okay.
I'm glad that before I could take too many shots there, Aaron was like, "If you don't mind, let me step in front of you and take most of the damage here."
I will say this about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers: like, they've got some fucking amazing songs and everything. But I am also in the school of like if he was never there, I wouldn't notice, sort of thing. But I definitely don't hate him or whatever. I do hate, and this is my hot take because like, especially here in Ferndale, where everyone's kind of like a punk connoisseur, the fucking Ramones. I cannot wrap my head around it.
Oh,
that's an amazing pick. That's perfect.
They are the shittiest goddamn band that has ever walked this fucking earth, and everyone who I know loves them to death. I'm like, they can't play in rhythm, they can't sing, they can't do anything. They were just part of the CBGB like rise during Talking Heads and Blondie and everything like that were happening. And all those guys who like make this argument about how amazing the Ramones are and everything, they always trash people who make it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and everything. I'm like, the Ramones are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, what? People don't even know how to make their own arguments. It's just like arguing with Republicans. It is fucking. I am loving this new me. Wait, this is me from now on. This is who I am. Fuck that.
Are you saying the overlap between people who love the Ramones and Republicans is basically just a circle?
I wish I could say that. No, because lots of people that I'm saying this about the Ramones, they are hardcore leftists. We live in
are far from it.
Like, but they managed to agree on like this one sort of absurdity.
Oh, that's going to be a clip. That's going to be a clip. That hot take's going to be a clip on TikTok, and people are going to go nuts.
Oh, yeah. Like,
your Tom Petty being better than Jimi Hendrix one will be.
I've literally had entire bars trying to talk me into thinking that the Ramones are good, and I've just been like half drunk, screaming that they're fucking terrible, and like the bartender and the people, what did he just say? The Ramones suck? Like it has been a thing in my life.
Just chaos ensues. All right, Paul, you got to match that energy. Let's see it.
I don't know if I can match that energy. So I will say beforehand that I understand this band's tribute or attribution to rock and roll, but the Rolling Stones are just a glorified blues band and nothing else to me.
Yes,
they're just a glorified blues band.
I've never heard that take, but it's interesting.
No, like lots of the songs that they're big for were kind of cover songs from blues when they first got started, and then after that, it was kind of like that. Who cares?
That part.
And the worst part is that people in my area too, who always talk music, always would be like, "Rolling Stones or the Beatles." I'm like, how are you like? First of all, like why?
It's not the same.
It's nowhere near the same.
They both came from England. That's it. They
thing.
both came from England at the same time.
One's been on tour for fucking 60 years. One toured for like 3 years.
And made bigger impact.
Yeah. Like they're not comparable.
No.
I love that everybody else picked their hot take as bands, so it makes a conversation, and I just say bread sucks.
I feel like contextually, though, that makes a lot of sense for the way that the podcast typically.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going through it, Rolling Stones are white bread.
There we go.
Circle.
It's circular.
But they're stale white bread.
Okay.
And the Ramones are liver and onions.
Oh.
Gross.
Well, now that we got warmed up with our music talk, let's talk about when you're stranded on a desert island and you can bring one album with you. What would that album be?
Oh my God. This is Pauly's first.
Bryce's
turn. Man.
Nope, cheers.
Oh, it's mine?
I've already gone first.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I have two in my head that I cannot decide between, but and they're completely two different genres and everything like that. But being the guitar player and everything, and like where I grew up as a guitar player, I'm gonna have to pick "Evening with the Allman Brothers" first disc or first set. It's incredible, and it's where I fell in love with the Allman Brothers in the first place, and it's where I fell in love with Warren Haynes as a guitar player and a slide player. And it's odd, too, because my other option is Dirt by Alice in Chains. Those are, like, the two albums that no matter what I can, like, listen to all the way through. Like, I'll stop listening to somebody if I hear one of those songs at the bar, you know. But, yeah, Evening with the Allman Brothers first set is phenomenal.
Who's next?
I think it's me.
Do you have an answer, Pauly?
Yeah, I got one.
It's paining him. Look at it.
It is. It was tough because it's the same. Like, there's a Pearl Jam album in there, much like with you with Alice in Chains, that I could listen to over and over. But I have to go back to the roots of the rock music that I love so much, and that would be Electric Ladyland from Jimi Hendrix. One, it's a double album. Two, it's got the ups and downs. It's got the, there's so many different energies in that album that you could find something for whatever mood you're in. It doesn't matter. You'll find it in that album. So that would be the one for the desert island. I would have gone with the live album, but it's just too short. So
what, the Band of Gypsies or?
Yeah, the Band of Gypsies with Machine Gun. Like, if I could just take Machine Gun and put it with Electric Ladyland, then it would be perfect.
When we did there was a Jimi Hendrix tribute
That's not the
show
rules.
at Loving Touch way back when, and when we do those things, like each band picks like 3 songs, and then we just do a whole night of like it's like 12 bands or something like that. And I did dun, 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 dun. What the hell is that song called now? The first song off of Band of Gypsies. I did now I can't fucking look.
Is that Changes?
Yes, Changes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that was so much fun to play. Just like it was the first time I'd ever played it with a band too.
Yeah.
It was such a blast. I was like busy trying to read the lyrics on the ground.
All right, Aaron, what do you got?
Oh, I am not the music connoisseurs that you guys are. But an album that I have a very affinity for is it's going to be milk toast choice here, but it's going to be AC/DC Live.
Like the one from the 90s, right?
It's one of the first.
Yeah,
Yes.
I knew you were going to pick that. That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It's when I moved from dank country ass music to actually listen to something different.
Nice. So it was transitional. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The shoot to thrill on that is awesome.
Yes, very much.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with this was a set that my dad had when I was growing up, and it was the Frank Sinatra reprise collection, and it was like his greatest hits, but it was a 4-disc set, and it almost felt like it was vinyl on the outside, and you open it up and it had like a book to coincide with each one, and I think it told like a story about each song, and it had a bunch of pictures in it. It was pretty cool. It was like this whole set. But that was what my dad listened to growing up, so that was one of those foundational artists for me that you hear so much as a child. It was like that, and then my mom listened to like Whitney Houston and Tina Turner and Mariah Carey. So I had a very interesting array of music I was listening to in the car with my parents. But it would be Frank Sinatra, the Reprise Collection would be my choice. And
Nice.
I get 4 discs there, so you get a whole bunch of
Always thinking practically there.
whole bunch of options. You know exactly when I'm on my desert island, I gotta.
If I would have picked the Beatles anthology if I knew we could pick box sets over here.
Yeah.
Not a box set. Not a box set. All right. Ooh. All right, this is fun. So we have a green flag in a partner.
I'm uncomfortable by these questions.
You're uncomfortable communicating what's a positive thing you look for in a partner?
Yeah.
You tell me to fuck off on the internet 65 times an episode, but this is where you draw the line of comfort? All right, Aaron, on that note, go ahead and go first.
Green flag in a partner, I would have to say,
10 toes.
no matter what kind of... Fuck you, Andrew. No matter whether you're together or you're far apart and it's over text, it's somebody who wakes up every morning and makes an effort to just say good morning.
Aww.
Aww.
That's adorable.
Shut up, don't tell anybody.
Tells the entire internet. Don't tell anybody.
I don't know if you realize this, Aaron, but this is a podcast. It's going to be going everywhere. And a clip.
Yeah, definitely a clip, which everybody sees more of than the actual podcast.
We all have to make sure that we wish Aaron a good morning tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
In the group text. And
So
every
Bryce-
morning moving forward.
Bryce, he'll expect yours around 1 o'clock.
And I'll still say good morning, too. That's the best part about it.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
morning. It's almost evening, you fucker.
Oh. Just wait till Bryce is on Pacific time. Then it quite literally will be. Aaron will be done with work for the day, right. I think, at that point.
Mm.
All right. So, green flag. I am less anxious than Aaron, and I don't care if you tell people because we're recording this on a podcast. A green flag for me would be communicating. I'm someone who likes to communicate in the moment. Like, I get too anxious and start overthinking when it's like, let's talk about this later, whether that be professionally and your manager books a meeting on your calendar for like tomorrow at noon and it's just like quick chat or whatever. Like, if there's an issue, if there's a concern, I would much rather we talk about that and we resolve it right here and now rather than like, let's just talk about it later or whatever. It's not important. Well, clearly it is important. So I don't know if that would be like conflict resolution in the moment or like communicating in that sense, but we'll say conflict resolution like in the moment. Yeah. I don't like once it festers that it just consumes me entirely, and there's no going back for me at that point. So, all right, Bryce.
Honesty, brutal. Like, do you remember that movie? I forget who. It was that comedian, the English comedian, and Jennifer Garner, where like there was no such thing. Yeah, there was no such
Ricky
thing
Gervais.
as honesty. Like, everyone was brutally honest about everything.
Was it The History of Lying?
Maybe, I don't know. I forget what it was, but like I was like, oh my god, that's the world I want to live in.
The Invention of Lying is what it was called. With Ricky Gervais and Jennifer Garner.
I have to have that sort of thing, like the way we are with each other when we're on just texting. We have absolutely nothing to hide from each other, and no reason to lie when questions are asked or anything like that. So like I especially after my last relationship, I need that because like if somebody tells me something, like I kind of have a thing where I'm like, I'm okay with being gullible. I'd rather just like say, oh, that's what you think, cool, and have the person turn and laugh than be like, then have to question what everybody says all the time and be like, oh, I wonder if that's what they really were thinking or da 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 da. You know, like because it just confuses things. And not just like between me and the person, between me and the company or whatever. I cannot stand dishonesty, and it makes life so much easier when everyone's just brutal. I have learned that I can't keep my mouth shut instead of just being brutally honest. Like, yeah. Well,
wait, what?
Not me. I can't keep my mouth shut. I'm saying that like when being honest about things, like sometimes you just don't have to say anything. You know, but when somebody asks you a question, I expect the truth, and that's my number one. Yeah,
it's a good number one.
All right,
yeah.
All right, Pauly.
Roxy, it's that? No, that doesn't count. Okay.
No,
I have to think about a trait. Damn it. It's tough when you're not.
The good news is, and the brownie points you're earning now are that there are just so many to choose from that you don't know which one you prefer the most.
It's true. It's true.
No, maybe you don't have to listen to this one. It's okay.
No, it's tough. Right.
Is it mask? Is it eyeliner beards on Roxy?
Oh yeah.
But to go along with that, humor is definitely a big green flag. Like, you've got to be able to have that humor with me.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, even if you're fake laughing and even when you don't think it's funny or calling me out and making fun of my joking, still humor in there, which Roxy does often.
Which is like all we do.
Humor is definitely like, yeah, right. So yeah, that's definitely a big green flag for me.
Sense of humor is a good one. That's a very important one. All right, 4 left. We've got some good ones.
It's funny, like...
Is it going to make it? Well, I guess in a perfect way.
When we get to the red flag, it's like obvious what they are. Just the opposite of what we said.
Right.
Well, that's no fun.
That's not the opposite. It has to be something else.
Do you want me to just fill NA in here for your safety and protection?
Not Roxy. There's
yeah, there you go.
any woman that isn't my wife.
There we go. That's the one.
Okay.
No, he's
Oh,
actually
was that your
going with
answer?
that.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
actually what he's going
That's
with.
what it is. Yeah.
That isn't
Yeah.
my wife. All right. Excellent choice. Excellent
Yep.
choice.
Thank you.
All right, Bryce. What do you got?
I was just gonna say dishonesty, but I'll make it more specific. And kind of along the lines of what you said about like talking about things in the moment. I hate it when somebody says, I hate it when a partner is like, I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like repressing
because-
the whatever the topic or the issue.
Because
Maybe.
nothing gets solved, right?
Right.
And especially if they're trying to figure it out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If it's about us, if it's between us, if something's going on between us, I'm like, how are you going to solve this on your own if you're not telling me what?
If it's an
your problem
interpersonal
with me
issue,
is?
yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be talked about and stuff like that. So like, people who aren't partners who aren't open with their partners is really it's almost telling. You know, and it could be a bad thing or a fucking horrible thing, but I don't think it's good at any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I definitely picked that too because, like Roxy and I, it's open book. Like anything and everything is just it's out there. Like there's no hiding, which is a comfortable place to be in too. When you know that you can just be completely honest with whatever's happening, be it good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more I was thinking about this, I was like, "Oh, I'll just go with." But it's not really as fun to just do the exact opposite of whatever that was. I would say, and I don't know. I think there's definitely like if you read up about like attachment styles and communication and kind of all components about that, it seems like a lot of what we're saying seem to be in similar veins there. But I would say the opposite. I mean, I guess that is kind of just as I think of something, I'm like, oh, that's just the opposite of what Aaron just said there, or that's the opposite of Bryce's. I would say, but would that just be dishonesty? Like when the effort isn't there, but the communication says otherwise. So, like, if you've ever been in a position where you're in a relationship and what you're being told is one thing, but what you feel is another.
It's gaslighting.
So, like,
to
Yeah.
an extent, it's gaslighting.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you for having this this origin story moment with me right here. But no, it's like, and it's there are times where like one person may be more invested than the other, and I've been in the situation where I've been the person who wasn't, and then I've been the person who was, and it's a back and forth, and there can also be the frustration that now that you're doing this, that, or the other, and the other person isn't, you're frustrated, just like you were frustrated the other way around when you were the person who was doing it and they weren't. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes on there. And as I've gotten older and gone to therapy and talked to someone who went to school and paid a lot of money to become licensed to do that, I've found out a lot about myself, and it's still a work in progress with a lot of work to do myself. But yeah, just kind of discovering those things and kind of understanding why when I get to that really awful place I don't like being, what kind of leads me there. And I think that what I explained there is one of the big ones. So
yeah, so I think we're all just kind of hopping on. And the thing about the four of us is I think we're all a little bit like what they like to call neurospicy. We are all very, very good at reading people. I think when it comes to anyone, whether somebody being creepy or a liar, but vagueness and deflection is. I pick up on that like that, and it's like in the past, it doesn't matter what kind of romantic, personal, business, I can pick up on that right away, and it's like I know you're not. Basically, you're lying to me.
mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just telling a half truth. No, that's fucking lying. you're lying to me.
You're not being honest.
Or when they say, well, I just don't want to talk about it, that thing. No. Because you'll have to lie if we talk about it.
Well, and that's where, like, if you're in a situation where your partner is someone, or the person you're arguing with is someone who they're the type of person who needs time to process, like, it isn't fair for you or for them to demand them to do the opposite. Because if you're someone who needs the time to process and play it out in your mind and say what you want to say so you don't lash out and say horrible things or anything like that, that's understandable. But there needs to be a compromise of, like, I know this is a situation that's going to stress you out the longer it goes on. If we could have 30 minutes where I could just maybe go for a walk or sit outside, collect my thoughts and come back, I want to do that. But I think both parties need to go into that understanding that, like, we're in this together and we don't resolve conflict the exact same way, but you do need to compromise, because it's not fair on either side to expect the other person to do that. But again, if you're not communicating effectively, you're not even going to be at the place to know you need to compromise. So I think it all kind of folds together.
Yep.
But
Okay, let's get a fun one. That was deep.
all right.
Oh my God, that was fucking heavy. Woo, doggy.
Back to back.
Four white
God.
dudes talking about relationships. What's up, everyone?
Ugh. So gross.
All right,
Now-
There we
now
go.
how to cure those pains with your
There we
favorite
go.
alcoholic beverage. Beautiful. I can take this one first. Despite the fact that I watched The Big Lebowski, it is not a White Russian or a Caucasian, as he calls it. I had a delicious old-fashioned last night, and it was exquisite down to the glassware. It's perfect. That's all I'll say. I will add nothing else to that. So
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Did you see how he made it? Like, did you see the ingredients? Did you see when he muddled, what he muddled, what kind of ice cube did he use?
No, so I didn't. It was just regular cubes. It wasn't like a sphere or anything, which I do enjoy, like the presentation and all the pageantry that goes along with like an old-fashioned upscale bar. But they had like the glassware that had like the just the patterns in it, and it was like the thicker glasses. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, that came as a set of 4 glasses with a decanter somewhere. I know it did. So I was like, I'm getting an old-fashioned. If they pour it in that glass, I know it's going to be good. And it was fantastic. But like
Nice.
the garnish was great. Everything was fantastic. So there are ways to screw it up, but the one I had last night was not screwed up. So I was thrilled.
Nice.
All right, Bryce.
Did your old fashioned have plenty of Aaron Nine Toes in it, bitters, or was it the right amount?
If my drink was as bitter as you, it would taste like battery acid. So we did not. It was
you,
not
Andrew.
that.
There we go.
It was not that bitter, thankfully. But there was a little bit of that bitterness in there, but just the right amount, just like you, just
Nice.
the perfect amount.
Thank you,
Right
Andrew.
about it.
Hey, Aaron. Good morning.
Oh, listen, you just got another one. Look at that.
I said thank you, not fuck you.
Oh, you said thank you. I thought you said fuck you. I'm saying it's just all I hear when I hear you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Figure,
That's fair. I feel like that's fair.
gee, this is way tougher than I thought it was. I was thinking about it when you said old fashioned. I was like, oh my God, what on earth would I possibly pick? Jesus Christ. Is this alcoholic drink or just favorite alcohol?
Like your drink. If you go to the bar and you order a drink, whether it's a beer, whether it's 4 ounces of vodka in a glass, neat, whatever you prefer.
Well, like, here's the thing, like, me and my bartending buddies who have had enough of it, like, when we go to the bar, we never just order a beer or a drink. We always order a beer and a shot of whiskey. So,
A Boilermaker?
yeah. Well, I mean,
Right?
it's like a backhanded Boilermaker. You don't actually mix them together, You're kind of two-fisted.
No, a beer and a shot is that's a normal order at a bar.
Yeah.
So
it
yeah,
has to be,
what's your favorite beer? What's your favorite shot?
Well, the beer always changes, and as I've gotten older, I used to be like a heavy IPA drinker, like 60 IBUs or above, like 100 was kind of max. It was just like intense. And now 2 Hearted is where I have to cut it off, where it's right at 60. I'm like, okay, I can do that. But now, even like every day, it feels like I'm going further and further and further away from that. So like now it's hazy IPAs, and official IPA, hazy IPA from Bell's is fantastic, along with New Holland Tangerine Space Machine, which I don't like fruit with my beer, but that is just enough to make it tasty. And always Jameson. Just Jameson.
Yeah.
Nothing else. No other booze. Just Jameson. Somebody's like, "Ooh, try this fancy stuff." I'm like, "Get that shit out of my face and give me Jameson." You know?
Is it Jameson? No. All right, I'm good. Thank you.
I will drink Rittenhouse. I will drink a rye, but just Jameson.
They need to rename that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, right. It was around long before he was.
I am going to go with my favorite drink is tequila, and not body shots with the lime and the salt.
That's not what we were expecting, to be clear.
I want a high quality, preferably añejo tequila in a glass, and I just want to sit there and sip it.
Dig it. I dig
What's your preferred? What's your number one pick?
Yeah,
I don't have a brand. I don't have a brand at all. As long as it's just not.
As long as it's not
Jose, right?
Cuervo, right?
Jose Cuervo?
Not Jose. Gross.
Do you like clear or do you
El
like
Toro?
brown tequila?
I like Don Julio is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Um,
He likes
1942.
Añejo, so.
And you said just in a glass, like chilled, like over ice?
No, just give me a shot in a whiskey glass so I can just sit there and sip it.
All right.
Yeah, that's also too. Like whenever I order a Jameson, I always get it in a rocks glass. I never get it in a shot glass.
Yeah.
What about you, Pauly?
So mine's a shot and a beer, just to go together. And it's probably also in the tequila realm, but it's just Silver Patron just hits right for me. I know it's definitely not the highest quality, but it hits right for me. And then a pint of Sweet Child of Vine, which is an IPA here from a local brewery called Fulton. But
Okay.
the name also caught me, Sweet Child of Vine. Just
Yeah.
it
You
works
said
right.
Sweet Child of Vine.
Vine, yeah,
Mhm.
Sweet Child of
Vine,
Vine.
that's good.
Yeah,
do like
so
that.
it's an IPA, but it's not a super heavy one. Like it's one that can go down real smooth, but it's definitely got the taste of IPA. So, yep, shot in an IPA, and I'm good to go.
There we go. All right, beautiful. We have two left,
They go together.
and they are paired together, which won't be the first time that's happened today. And it looks like it's favorite sport. All right, there we go. So favorite sport. I can go first. I'm going to take as
Well,
my body-
hang on. Where it's favorite sport and favorite athlete.
They
As
don't
we
have to be the
go,
same.
should we just go sport and athlete per person? Instead of cycling back and forth.
it's kind of fucking lame, but sure, I guess.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, Aaron,
like,
any other producer notes you want to throw out there while we're recording the fucking podcast? Jesus Christ.
Fuck you, Andrew.
It's like,
No,
God, that
fuck
wheel.
you,
I want
Aaron.
to see that wheel again.
Yeah, there's not.
I mean, we're
yeah,
not
sorry.
going back to
That
the
was
wheel.
at 50. I've got the time marked down, so fuck off.
No, it's all staying in. We're not editing any of this out. Thanks for taking note of the time when you decided to give us your notes mid-podcast. I appreciate that. Did you put that on your tiny little notepad?
Of
Is
course
that
he
where you
did.
wrote it down?
Yeah.
Detective Nine Toes feverishly rolls
I
through his
just need
notepad.
I need a pocket in my Beach Boys shirt.
You need the pocket protector. That'd be perfect. Okay,
Dude,
so since we have to do
Detective
both at the
Nine Toes
same...
is a brilliant name. That is amazing.
The private eye.
Yeah, but too bad he has like the pizza order from the shop right next to the details from a witness in a murder case, next to podcast topics. He doesn't know what's on what page. Okay, so I'll go first, and I'll make sure to do both very quickly so Aaron doesn't get upset. We will do favorite sport is hockey. I've played it for the better part of 30 years, and the Red Wings are my team. They're tattooed on my arm here. So hockey has been and always will be my favorite sport to watch, my favorite sport to go see live, and my favorite to play, which I don't anymore. But
hockey for me has always been a sport that I'll watch golf on TV before I watch frickin' hockey because who cares? But live hockey, there is an energy at a hockey game that is amazing.
That almost salvaged your take of you'd rather watch golf on TV than hockey, because that makes
almost
no sense. The only reason you watch golf on TV and I watch golf on TV is so you can nap and then wake up and it's like nothing like you can wake up and you miss nothing. You just check
it's the same reason it's the same reason you nap during NASCAR. You watch first 10 laps, you watch the last 10 laps.
No, we don't watch NASCAR, but I'm sure that's why you do it. You don't watch hockey, but you watch NASCAR on TV. Again, this is why we want to strike you from the record. Favorite athlete, growing up, I grew up and I was in my very formative childhood years, the same time that Ken Griffey Jr. was working through his prime in the mid to late 90s, the backwards hat, and having those, maybe 4 or 5 years where had he not gotten injured or cost himself 20, 30, 40 games, he would have won the home run record on any given year and could have challenged McGuire and Sosa. And I can't say for certain whether or not he was doing steroids, but he certainly didn't look anything like Mark McGuire or Sammy Sosa or have a size 9 3/4 head like Barry Bonds did when he broke the home run record. So
he had that swing. He had
the prettiest swing you've ever seen. I was talking about Griffey, but yeah, Bonds had the swing.
No, that's what I mean. Griffey is what I was talking about. Like his swing.
The swing that literally took it looked like it took 30 seconds. It was
so unreal. And he got to play with his dad.
Drops the bat.
Him and his dad played in the outfield together for his senior's last season. There's that one famous clip, I don't know if you guys have seen it, where his dad, Ken Griffey Sr. is in left field. He's calling for a fly ball like he's going to take it, and Junior just runs in front of him and grabs it, doesn't stop, and just runs right to the dugout, and he's laughing about it.
Yeah,
and in an interview later on,
his hands on his hips like, this motherfucker.
In an interview later on, he said that he grounded him from the car. He took Junior's car keys away for a week after that. So I thought that was always so good. So Ken Griffey Jr., I don't know if he was unanimously elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, but he might have been, and well deserve it. So,
and such an amazing fielder. Like everyone talks about his hitting and everything, but God, he was one of the best defensive players there ever was.
He was so fast, so good,
so good.
I'll go
Bryce.
next. Oh, Pauly. Okay,
right.
Go ahead.
So mine are going to be different ones as well. For sport, it depends because, I played baseball the most in childhood, but as I got older, basketball was definitely the sport that, I absolutely love basketball so much. Even as it's evolved into, this three-point shooting, high-scoring game that it is versus a defensive game, I love basketball. That might be part of growing up in Indiana too, like the Hoosier State, where it's just basketball. There's a goal in everybody's driveway. It doesn't matter where you're at. Basketball is number one. So that is for me. For sport athlete, I was going to go Ken Griffey Jr., but I won't double it up here. So I will go with my favorite football player ever, and that is Marvin Harrison. As a wide receiver, Marvin Harrison, one of the quietest guys out there, but could take on anybody. And he's so short, but he had 99% muscle. You look at his arm, in a photo of him catching a ball, it's just muscle is all it is. And my favorite moment, which I was actually at the game, I think it was a playoff game. It was playoff or right before the playoffs. But
if I know what you're talking about, and I'm pretty sure I do, it was definitely a playoff game.
Okay. Well, it may have been two moments then. The first one was when he caught the ball, fell down. It was probably 50-yard line or so. A guy jumped over him and never touched him, and he gets up and just flies and goes all the way to the end. Yeah, that one was a playoff game.
Yeah, that's what I was
and
thinking of.
Yeah, and everyone around him, like on the other team, was like, "No, we touched him." It's like, "No, you didn't." And he had that mindset where he's just like, "Nope, I'm gone," and goes. The other one was when he went to catch a ball, got flag thrown on the play because they interfered, and like this big ass fucking guy, I think a lineman or something, he pushed, and you see him just fall backwards as he pushes him because he's so much smaller than him that he's just like, and that was the most I'd ever seen him riled up, like where he just like went and pushed the guy. I was like, Marvin, like, calm down, sir. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, just his calm demeanor, and the reason he had that calm demeanor is because he actually grew up having a stutter. So he like, you never see really interviews with him, you never see anything like that because he was very, uncomfortable with his talking, so he's never really done much as far as like being out there, like the Randy Mosses and stuff like that. Like, and that's another reason I liked him is because he was so quiet, but he went out there and did the job the best he fucking could. So that's the one.
And his son right now is like the number one, is touted to be like the number one ranked wide receiver drafted out of Ohio State as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's been there 2 years, but he's like the clear-cut consensus top receiver that'll be drafted next year because he's been unreal at Ohio State. So not only to be that good, but to have a son who seems like he could very likely follow in those footsteps is insane.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, let's go, Bryce, and we'll close it out with Aaron, the executive producer.
Fuck you, Andrew.
He's trying to earn that credit,
Yeah.
That's 10.
Wow.
10 for episode 10.
10 for 10.
How perfect.
Nice.
Got one more coming, though, at the end.
Wait.
That is true. Stay tuned.
What's the high on Fuck You, Andrews? Is it 12 or 13?
I think we're at the high.
No, I think because when we did the sci-fi
2
movie
episodes.
draft, we counted it as one. So I think that was 19 was the total. But that was 2 parts. So I think this is the most we've had in any one single episode.
Yeah, okay. So like since pandemic, things have been a little weird. I haven't really paid any attention to sports, but pre-pandemic, I was maybe one of the biggest baseball fans you'll ever meet. Like, and not just like my team or whatever, but MLB and not just currently, but like the entire history of baseball and what it's tied to and everything like that. And I always tell people this. I'm always like, well, did you know that in 1908, Ty Cobb won the MVP with just 7 home runs? And everyone's always like, how the hell did that happen? Oh my God. I'm like, well, they didn't have fences back then. So like the ball would just like keep rolling until somebody got a hold of it. And you had to like actually make your way around the bases. So
Yeah.
Right.
but he batted like 373 or something like that. So it's a different story. But yeah, definitely baseball. One thing about baseball for me is I don't like going to games. I hate going to games. I always did.
Really?
Well, yeah, you can't see the strike zone. It's so aggravating. And like one of my favorite and most annoying things in the world is when people who are sitting like down the third baseline are like, "Come on, that was a strike!" Oh! You're like, "What?
Right.
What? You're looking from the side. How can you possibly tell?" Like, yeah, it was like
Right.
waist high, but it could have been a fucking mile outside. But okay, and I very easily could have chosen Ken Griffey Jr. too because he was like my idol. I still have all of his rookie cards. I even have his draft cards. I've got the duels of the upper deck draft cards that he had. But my favorite baseball player, when I really think about it, is Alan Trammell from the Detroit Tigers. He played shortstop here with Lou Whitaker for 19 seasons. 19 seasons, the longest double play duo in history. And the fact that he had to get voted into the Hall of Fame by the committee late after his time had expired was just ridiculous to me because 5 of the best shortstops, including Cal Ripken and Barry Larkin, all didn't have numbers like Alan Trammell, but he was just overlooked for some odd reason. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm really still pissed that he didn't win the MVP in '89 and George Bell did. So I'm still upset about that. That was bullshit. George Bell was like the first person to hit 40 home runs in like 3 years or something like that. So everyone was like, okay, give him the MVP. But he had lower batting average. He had less walks. He had less RBIs. he was just not the hitter that Alan Trammell was, and Alan Trammell was just so incredible.
Well, and that was before. I mean, sabermetrics existed in like the sense that they were in a book somewhere, but that was what 20 years, 15 years before the Moneyball era of like OPS, and you started looking. Then it was like, can you hit home runs? Can you hit RBIs? And it was basically like
it was like wins and losses.
Didn't hit for a 300 average. Yeah, it was like if you didn't hit for a 300 average, but you hit home runs and you drove people in, that was it. And it didn't matter that you struck out 200 times and you either hit a home run or struck out, and that was about it. But no, it definitely was a different time. But yeah, baseball. What's crazy now is, I'm going to nerd out on baseball for a second, is Shohei Ohtani, who plays for the Angels in LA, or Anaheim, or whatever one of the 17 names they go by, because they used to be the California Angels, then the Anaheim Angels, then the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
And now they're the Anaheim Angels.
Now they're the artists formerly known as the Angels. But Ohtani pitches as well as hits. He pitches in their regular 5-man rotation, and he bats either second or third in their order. I think he was top 3 in RBIs and home runs last year as well, and he won 12 or 13 games. He does, like, every week there is a stat that, like, Shohei Ohtani did something no one has done since 1886 when Lefty Johnson pitched 36 innings in a week and hit 3 home runs in the same game. Like, he comes up with these stats because no one does that. And, like, you're paying a pitcher who does what he does $30+ million a year, and you're paying a hitter who does what he does $40 million a year. So the business case is there that he's worth $75-80 million by himself for what he does. But it's like the Angels suck so bad that no one would know Shohei Ohtani if you're just walking down the street, like you would Tom Brady or like you would Michael Jordan. And not to say that he's in that stratosphere, but for the impact he has. He struck out Mike Trout to win Japan the World Baseball Classic, and, like, no one cared. And those two are teammates and 2 of the best players in baseball, and, like, that should have been a huge deal. But it wasn't, because, like, they've ruined baseball in the last decade, 15+ years. So that's just my soapbox. So I'll step down now.
Shohei's the shit. You know, I also heard that he's going to be
okay. Don't trip off your soapbox there.
I also heard that Shohei is he's up for contract at the end of this year, and he's going to be looking at 11 years, $560 million. So
Jesus,
obscene.
So it'll be the biggest.
He might end up with the Yankees, or he might end up with the Dodgers. Which he would go to the Dodgers, and then they'd win another World Series in the same city as the Angels. Would be like, I have family who are Angels fans, and they had their one World Series in the early 2000s, but they have wasted Mike Trout, who was literally like the best player in baseball for a decade, and he's just rotting
you just
away.
See him sitting there like.
It's such a weird favorite team. Also, like the Angels as a favorite team, like you don't hear it much. It's just
not outside of Anaheim, I don't think.
No, exactly. There's just like there's so many other teams.
Even just in California, there's like 7 major league teams. Not actually, but 4, I think. All right, Aaron.
These guys know, but I'm not a huge sports ball fan. But my favorite sport is football, specifically college football. And that's a lot of Nebraska, because we never had a pro team here, and we were so dominant in the 90s, and we've sucked ever since. But
I wouldn't say dominant. I'd say you were good in the 90s. But
yeah, fuck you, Andrew. We're gonna get back there. This year's gonna be our year.
Shouldn't you be saying specifically the Lions?
Division 3?
Yeah, you sound like my dad talking about the Lions right now. We're going to get back there this year. This is the year. Like, back where, Dad?
Hey, my new NFL team is now the Detroit Lions, which I am vehemently against changing sports love affiliations when it comes to teams. Ever. Once you pick your team, you pick your team. But because Florida is Florida, so fuck Florida, I am leaving the Miami Dolphins, and I am now a Detroit Lions fan.
Aaron's rule for choosing his favorite team is teams that have never won anything big. Got it.
Or teams that actually get back to him on TikTok. That's one or the other.
That's not true. The Lions. I think the Lions have won like 6 NFL championships. The bad news is they just haven't done anything in the last 70 years. So it was before there was a Super Bowl. So none of that matters.
No.
Right.
All right.
And then
favorite athlete. Which NASCAR driver are you going to go with here?
Oh no. I'm gonna go with the easy one, especially for somebody my age. It's there was a couple, but I gotta go with my.
I was about to say it. I was right there.
Fuck you, Andrew.
He even said my age.
That's a dozen.
We're gonna go with Michael Jordan.
Fantastic.
Just because he's the GOAT, and anybody who says that LeBron is better than him, that can fuck all the way off. LeBron is more talented than Michael Jordan, and it's not even a conversation. The totality of what Michael Jordan did with his career from an accolade standpoint is far superior. But to say that LeBron is not more talented is a lie. Jordan did more with his talent than LeBron did. LeBron is 6'8", 270, and he passes like magic, and he can work the ball inside and is effectively unstoppable. So I want to point out that who just won?
Who just got swept?
Yeah.
I'm not art. Yeah, you're missing the point entirely here. My argument is not LeBron James right now is the best ever. My point is, if you stack them up side by side, I'm picking Jordan because of the totality of everything he did, and
I see what
in the finals and all of it. But LeBron is more physically gifted and talented from a basketball standpoint. I would also argue his basketball IQ is higher. He does more, and if you listen to the interviews of what he does on the floor, there are players who said he will call out what the defense is going to do when he moves in a certain spot with the ball, what they'll do in reaction to a pass, and so on. Like, LeBron is playing chess out there. He also surrounds himself with people that don't necessarily allow him to get to the status that Michael Jordan did. So that was my point. I'm still picking Jordan and siding with you in terms of him being the GOAT.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm just
Jordan
saying,
had Pippen too,
LeBron is more talented.
Well, I think Jordan also stayed with one team to get all that he could. So he had a team built around him versus jumping a team and having to build a new team.
He's a leader. LeBron is not.
LeBron's still a leader.
No, LeBron buys his players.
No, the teams that he goes to buy the players.
Right.
Yeah, but LeBron. So what LeBron has done on his return to Cleveland, and as well when he's gone to the Lakers, is he's mortgaged the future of these franchises so they can try to win now and surround him with the same guy like Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, Amon Shumpert, Rondo in L.A. There's all these people who aren't getting contracts anywhere else, and a handful of these guys are playing in China now because after LeBron decided he was done with them, no one else wanted him. But LeBron basically acts as the GM and tells them what they're going to do because he's LeBron and can carry that weight, which at the same time, if I'm him, I'm going to throw my weight around and be like, you need to sign this person, this person, and this person. But if you don't win, that's when he tries to back off and be like, well, the team made these decisions. And it's like, no, motherfucker, you held the team hostage to make said decisions. So,
and he wasn't, I would say, as far as a leader goes, like he wasn't even a leader on his, first couple championships in Miami. Like Wade and Shaq
was Dwayne
were for
Wade's
the first
team.
one.
Yeah.
It was Wade.
Well, Shaq was gone by then. Shaq wasn't.
I thought he won one with Shaq. I thought
Dwayne Wade did, but that was 2006.
Wade did. Okay, yeah, that's right.
But that was for sure. He went to Dwayne Wade's team, and then that one in Cleveland, that was huge. That was clearly a huge deal for him. I mean, the whole city of Cleveland too, to bring a championship to that city. But I mean, they're still in Ohio, so even after they win the NBA championship, like you still wake up in Ohio the next day. So, But yeah, that concludes our list there. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the screen share there, so we're all good. But yeah, that about does it there. So we're 10 episodes in. We've made it to double digits. We haven't faded off into anonymity just yet. That's not to say we won't, but at least not yet. So
it's always a possibility.
Yeah, gentlemen, anything before we get to the usual send off?
I do want to say that we do have some things planned as far as like now that we have the video issues gone, with the way we're doing our recording now, we are planning, maybe some live podcasts where we, stream on YouTube, as well as getting guests in the future, which would be awesome. We haven't decided who or what, but
LeBron James is going to be on next week to discuss what we just talked about.
One-on-one with Aaron is what he's doing. But yeah,
it's going to be
do
all
have some
fuck
things.
you LeBrons.
Oh.
That's our newest merch. It's going to say,
Yep.
It's going to say "fuck you, LeBron."
Aaron, just signed Aaron. But yeah, we do have some things planned, and we're super excited for it now that we've got this part figured out, and a good run on recording. Besides a couple other technical issues that don't have to do with the recording itself, which we'll get aired out before we do that. But that is the goal, to do some live ones as well as have some guests on. So we're excited for the after the first 10.
Yeah,
Only
very
up
much
from
so.
here. Only up. From here.
Visit our link trees in all of our bios. We've got our merch store. Go get yourself an all Aaron face shower curtain.
That he hates. That he absolutely hates. He can't stand that.
But he just wants to see.
But I just want to see if I can sell one. Also, in our link trees, you can, on TikTok and Instagram and all the social medias, find our email address at QuadSquadPod@gmail.com. I said that wrong. QuadSquadPod@gmail.com. If you have any questions,
it's the QuadSquadPod@gmail.com.
Well, we've got two.
Oh, he's
Okay.
0-2 to Shohei.
The QuadSquadPod@gmail.com.
I couldn't remember if we had podcast on the end of one or the QuadSquadPod@gmail.com. Send us questions. We want to do a whole episode sometime where we just answer questions.
Do it live. That's all.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. But having said that, as always, fuck you, Andrew.
Really got to tie it off. And on that note,
so much for that good morning text I was going to send tomorrow morning.
Okay, let's
Count us out, Bryce.
5, 6, 7.